Somewhere at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean, at a depth where sunlight dies and pressure crushes steel, there is something that shouldn't be there. Walls, perfectly cut stone, streets that run in circles, a staircase leading down into darkness so complete that no human eye has ever seen where it ends. Nobody put it there yesterday. Nobody built it last century. The architecture doesn't match anything we know, and not Greek, not Roman, not Egyptian. The geometry is too precise. The scale is too massive, and the location makes no sense at all because there's nothing around it for thousands of miles in every direction except open ocean and silence. Whatever it is, it's been waiting down there for a very long time. Some say 12,000 years, some say longer. The locals, if you can call fish locals, don't seem to care. Schools of them drift through the doorways like tourists. Coral has claimed the columns. The streets are carpeted in soft white sediment, undisturbed for millennia, except for the occasional current that moves through the ruins like a slow, deliberate breath, as if the city is still alive, as if it never stopped breathing, as if it's just waiting. But for what? Here's what makes it stranger. The city wasn't built for the bottom of the ocean. The architecture is wrong for that. The doorways face up, not out. The drainage systems, yes, there are drainage systems, run in directions that only make sense if the ground was once dry. Whoever built this place built it to live in, to walk through, to fill with noise and light and the smell of cooking fires and salt air from a harbor that no longer exists. This was a city built for people. And then the ocean took it, not slowly, the way coastlines erode over centuries, suddenly, violently, the kind of suddenly that doesn't give you time to take anything with you. Because here's the detail that nobody talks about. There are no artifacts inside, no pottery, no tools, no bones, no evidence of anyone ever having lived in an organized way, just the city, empty, intact, like everyone vanished between one breath and the next. There are rooms down there that have never been opened, doors still sealed by what nobody knows because the material isn't stone and it isn't metal. And the best analysis anyone has managed to run on samples suggests it's something that simply shouldn't exist at that depth, under that pressure, after that much time. There are carvings on the walls, not random decoration, patterns, repeating sequences that look uncomfortably close to writing. Nobody has translated them. Nobody has even agreed on whether they're meant to be read left to right, top to bottom, or in the spiral pattern that keeps appearing in the stonework like a signature. There is a central chamber, massive, large enough to fit an entire city block inside. At its center, a raised platform. On the platform, something that might be a throne or might be an altar or might be something for which we don't have a word because whatever civilization built, it didn't think the way we think. Above the platform, carved into the ceiling 60 feet overhead, is a single image, a circle. Inside the circle, rings. Inside the rings, a city. A perfect, geometric, impossible city, exactly as Plato described it 2,400 years ago in a dialogue that most people assume was pure fiction. Concentric rings of land and water, a palace at the center, a harbor full of ships, Atlantis. And here's the part that keeps the researchers who've seen it awake at 3 a.m, staring at the ceiling of whatever cheap hotel room they're staying in because the funding ran out 6 months ago and nobody will return their calls. The carving isn't weathered. Everything else down there, the walls, the columns, the floors, shows 12,000 years of ocean, erosion, mineral deposits, the slow, patient work of water on stone. But the carving on the ceiling looks like it was made yesterday, like someone was down there recently, like someone wanted to make sure that when we finally found this place, and they knew we would find it eventually, we would understand exactly what it was. A message in the one language that transcends time, a picture of home. Nobody knows what happened to the people who lived here. The most obvious answer, they drowned, doesn't hold up because 12,000 years ago, sea levels were different. The ocean didn't creep up on this city. It arrived all at once in an event so fast and so total that geologists who've studied the surrounding seabed use words like instantaneous and then immediately walk them back, because instantaneous isn't a geological term and it makes their colleagues uncomfortable. But that's what the data shows. The city went from above water to below water in a time frame that geology struggles to explain, which means the people who lived here had, at most, hours, maybe less. Did they run? Did they try to sail away? Did they know it was coming the way some ancient traditions suggest their priests could read the signs and the behavior of animals and the color of the sky and the particular way the water pulled back from the shore just before something terrible arrived? Or did it come at night while they slept, and the last thing any of them ever felt was the cold? Oh, we don't know. We may never know. What we know is that a city existed, that it was sophisticated beyond anything its supposed age should allow, that it vanished in an event that shouldn't have been possible, and that someone at some point carved a map of it into the ceiling of its own great hall, as if to say, we were here, as if to say, remember us. The city is still down there right now as you read this. The doors are still sealed. The carvings are still impossibly fresh. The central chamber is still waiting in the dark under 2 miles of ocean for someone to walk back through the door and answer the question carved into the ceiling. We built this. We lived here. We loved this place. What happened to us?